Right, this is the 2016 multiple choice. Again, I'm just going to try and run it as a whole thing. Question 1. The diagram below shows parts of a plant cell. Which part of the cell is composed of cellulose? Cellulose, you're supposed to know, is plant cell wall. Okay, A is the vacuole, C is the chloroplast, and D is the nucleus. So B is the cell wall. Right, 4 cylinders of potato tissue were weighed and each was placed into a salt solution of different concentration. You're not told what that is, you're just told it's A, B, C and D. The cylinders were reweighed after 1 hour and the results are shown below. Okay, so we start with an initial mass of 10 grams and it's fallen down to 7 in A, it's dropped again to 9.4 in B, C it's actually increased to 11.2 and D it has increased still further to 12.6. The question is, in which salt solution would most potato cells be plasmolysed? Okay, so you need to know 2 terms for water balance in plant cells. You're supposed to know plasmolysed and we need to know turgid. Okay, in plasmolysed it's lost water, and in turgid it has gained, or it's at its kind of maximum kind of water level it can get. So I've lost mass in A and B, so these are in with a shout for plasmolysed. We're looking for most plasmolysed, so I'm looking for the biggest loss, so A. Okay, B, I had to move this slightly for this to fit. Okay, diagram below shows the percentage of cells dividing in 4 areas of an onion root. Which graph represents the number of cells dividing in this root? So we've got distance from root cap going along the bottom, and then going up the side we've got percentage of cells dividing. So I'm just going to divide that. There should be another D in there obviously. Right, so at 0 distance from the root cap, so here, I have nothing. I've got 0%. Okay, I then move up further, so I'm going to go this way. Okay, so I'm going to go to here just for a place to be. Okay, and it's now at 50%, so I've gone up to 50. And then it's dropped down to 30 and then down again to 10. So what I've got is a graph that looks like that. And there we go, it's B. Okay, it's not C. The rest of them just don't make sense. Okay, you have to start with 0 and then up to 50 and then 30 and down to 10 again. Okay. Which of the following shows the correct DNA base pairing? Okay, you need to know that you have adenine pairs with thymine, so A to T, and guanine pairs to cytosine, G to C. Okay, so A is wrong because I've got an A to C pairing here. Okay, B, A to T, C to G, G to T pairing, that's wrong. A to G, top one, and C, that's wrong. A to T, C to G, G to C, T to A. Happy with D. Okay, question 5. Hormones are composed of, straight, just got to know it's protein. Okay, glycerol is the breakdown from fats, glucose is carbohydrates, and starch is a big carbohydrate. Question 6, we're looking at the carbon fixation stage of photosynthesis. So this is once you've done your light dependent, your photolysis, where you smash up the water to give you hydrogen and oxygen, lose the oxygen, it doesn't come on to the next stage with you, but what you do need is carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide, hydrogen and ATP, this is the things that you brought forward from the first stage. Mix them all together in a fairly complicated set of reactions, which you're happy just to write in a thing and say carbon fixation, and we get what we want, which is glucose and starch. Okay, which is given here, they're just calling it sugar. Okay, so C. Question 7. An investigation was carried out to compare the rate of oxygen gas production by 2 different species of water plant, S and T. Which diagram below shows the setup for species T that would allow a valid comparison in the rate of oxygen production of the 2 species? So basically I need to keep everything the same and just change the species. Okay, so let's look at this size-wise, because that's quite obvious here. This is wrong and this is wrong because this is a different size than species S. And then the other thing is how far away the lamp is. Okay, this one is the same distance and this is decidedly further, so the only valid comparison would be A. Each skin cell in a mouse has 40 chromosomes. How many chromosomes were present in each cell after dividing 4 times during cell culture? This is almost a trick question. You're kind of messing with your head a bit. You know that when you divide a cell, you get the same number of chromosomes. That's the whole point. It maintains your normal chromosome complement. It doesn't matter how many times it's divided. It could be 4, it could be 40. You know, it doesn't matter. You still have the same number of chromosomes you started off with. So C is the correct answer for that. Question 9. Do not worry about at all, because this again is no longer part of the course content. The idea of a meristem is effectively a plant stem cell. So specialization means that you get, in animals, tissues and organs. You wouldn't get meristems, and different, specialization means that you're not making stem cells that's coming from stem cells. I think you could almost have answered it just purely because A is right and meristems is something you've never heard of. Okay, question 10. Table below shows the blood glucose levels of 2 people after eating the same meal. Normal range of blood glucose levels is 82 to 110 milligrams per deciliter. Don't worry about the units, because the units are just the units that are here. Okay. Use the information given. Which of the following statements is correct? Person A always stayed within the normal range. So that means 82 to 110. No. So that's wrong. Person B was out with the normal range 180 minutes after eating. So 180 minutes, yes, that's right, because that's 160 and the range only goes up to 110 in the normal. Just to check, person B had a level twice as high as that of person A 180 minutes after eating. So 90 and 160. No, because that would have to be 180. Person A and B both had their highest levels 90 minutes after eating. So here's your 90 minutes after eating. Person A was. Person B, where we're going, 190. And that drops down as well. Oh, sorry. No, I was thinking that person A is actually 140. So B is right, A is not. Sorry, a little bit waffly, but don't think I'll stop and change stuff. So B. Question 11. We've got the structure of a flower. Where are the male gametes produced? Straight knowledge. It is the anther. The ovary is where you make the ovules. The ovules are the female sex cells, and the stigma is where the pollen lands during pollination. Okay, most features of an individual phenotype are, and again this has been taken out as no longer in the national course, just for, again, interest. Single genes would give you discrete variation. This is true, but it's not most features. Most features of you are controlled by loads of different genes, so they are polygenic, and because of that, it follows over a range. Okay, but don't worry about it. Question 13, however you need to be able to do. Following diagram shows the inheritance of coat colour in guinea pigs. We've got a black guinea pig and a white guinea pig. You're told that the black guinea pig has big B, and the white is little b. They cross and produce the F1 of big B, little b. And then the F1 must be crossed to get the F2, which gives you basically all of them. You've got big B, big B, little b, and little b. Which of the following generations contain heterozygous individuals? Straight KU, you need to know what the heterozygous means. That means that you have different alleles present. That is the big B, little b, which we've got here and here. So F1 and F2. Right, heart diagram. Quite a complex heart diagram on this one. Well, very picturey. We've got the heart, associated blood vessels. Which of the following statements is correct? Okay, so we've got let's actually label it up. It's the best way around to do this. Okay, so we have on the left-hand side, the right-hand side of the heart. So this is the right atrium. Down the bottom here, we've got the right ventricle. Okay, the right ventricle is going to push blood up through this pipe here. Okay, that is the pulmonary artery, which is heading off to the lungs. Okay, to pick up or reoxygenate the blood and bring it back. It's going to come back from the lungs in here, and that's going to be the pulmonary vein. That's then going to go into W, which is our left atrium. Go down into X, which is our left ventricle, and then the left ventricle, there's a pretty big squeeze to push up out through this one here. This is the aorta, which is off to the body. Okay, right, so which of these now is correct? Just read down through your list. W is a left atrium, that's fine. Receives blood from the body, nope. Oh, I didn't actually put that on here. This is coming back from the body in the vena cava. Okay, so it's not A. X is the left ventricle, okay with that. Which pumps blood to the body? Yes, totally agree with that one. Just check. Y is the right atrium, no, because it's the right ventricle. Z is the right ventricle, and no, that's the right atrium. Okay. Statement of, just do we know a KU point on this one? Which of the following statements best describes a niche? It is the role that it plays. That's what you look for. You look for that term role. Okay, and that's it. Question 16. An ecosystem receives 6 million units of energy from the sun. Of this energy, 95% is not, that's in bold, used in photosynthesis. The amount of energy captured by producers in this ecosystem is. So if 95% is not used, that means you catch 5%. So I'm looking for 5% of my 6 million. Now, however you want to do that, you can either divide it by 100 to get to 1% and then times by 5, or you could just times it straight off by 0.05 because that's your 5%, but you're looking for 5% of that, which is B. Okay, question 17. Again, it's just a graph set that you need to work through. Graph below show changes in the populations of red and grey squirrels in an area of woodland over a 10-year period. So you've got your time going along the bottom, and then we've got two different lines on here, but to the same axis, so it's not a double axis graph. I suppose that they're being slightly nice. Total number of squirrels decreased over 10 years. Well, let's have a look at this. Our greys were at, this is going up in 10, so they were at 130, and our reds were at 150. So add them up, okay? And then we've got our reds down here were 20, and the greys had actually increased to 270. So we had a total of 300 in this one, and we had a total of, what did I say there? 130, and 150. So 280, and that one was 300. So no, it's actually increased. The population of red squirrels showed a greater change than the grey. So the reds went from 150 to 20, so it's changed by 130. The greys went from 130 to, what do we say there, 280. So that's gone by 100 and, not 150, just by, yes, 150. Okay, so red squirrel shows greater change, nope. Okay, C. The population of grey squirrels shows a greater change than the red. We've just calculated that, yes. And finally, just to check, after 8 years, there were 4 times as many grey squirrels as red. So at 8 years, grey squirrels were at 250 and red squirrels were at 50. So there was 5 times as much, not 4. Okay. Question 18. Which of the following is a source of new alleles in a population? Again, this is a straight KU. Mutation is what gives you variation. You also have increased variation within the population by things like using sexual reproduction rather than asexual, but that doesn't produce new alleles. New alleles, we're only talking about mutation producing that. Indicator species can provide information about, well, this is almost a definition again of an indicator species. Indicator species tells you something about the environment that things are that is going on here. So pollution is one of the best ones that we use them for. That's your things like stonefly nymphs saying it's lovely, and things like rat-tailed maggots and sludge worms saying it's a bit gross. Question 20, last one in the paper. The diagram below represents a freshwater food web. Sorry, trying to get this on the right place. See if I can get it. There we go. Okay, we've got brown trout at the top. They are feeding on mayfly nymph and freshwater shrimp. The freshwater shrimp and the mayfly nymph are being fed on by the dragonfly nymph. And then we've got microscopic algae going to the mayfly nymph and the freshwater shrimp, and pondweed just being eaten by the mayfly nymph. Okay, the number of freshwater shrimps was found to have decreased dramatically, so let's just kill off a whole pile of these. Predict the effect this will have on the number of dragonfly nymphs and microscopic algae. Right, okay, so on the dragonfly nymph side, let's have a look at what's going on. It has basically lost a food source. So it's now down to just one food source, so I'm expecting that these guys are going to fall in terms of number. The microscopic algae, well, it's actually lost something which was feeding on it, now only has one thing feeding on it, so I expect that to increase. So I'm expecting microscopic algae would increase and the dragonfly would decrease. D. And that's the paper, well, the section.